Imagine you're walking through a prehistoric forest. The air is cool. The birds are singing. Everything feels peaceful. Then, you hear a tiny cry. Just a few steps away. A small baby deer struggles to stand. Its eyes are wide with fear. Its tiny legs tremble. There is no mother in sight. No danger. No sound. Only a helpless animal waiting to be rescued. What would you do? Most of us would rush over without thinking. We would pick it up. Protect it. Maybe even carry it home. But if you had done that 30,000 years ago, you might never have made it home. Because ancient humans knew something we've almost forgotten. A baby animal was rarely the real danger. It was what you couldn't see. That killed you. So why did our ancestors teach their children to walk away from helpless baby animals? And how did this forgotten survival rule help humans survive one of the deadliest periods in history? The answer begins deep inside one of Earth's most dangerous forests. To understand why ancient humans feared baby animals, we first need to forget everything modern life has taught us. Today, if we see an abandoned puppy or kitten, our first instinct is usually compassion. We assume it needs help. We believe rescuing it is the right thing to do. But the prehistoric world followed very different rules. Nature wasn't kind. Nature wasn't fair. Every living creature fought every single day simply to stay alive. For early humans, making the wrong decision didn't just mean embarrassment. It often meant death. Imagine a small hunting group moving quietly through a dense forest. The adults carry sharpened wooden spears. Children walk silently between them. Everyone scans the trees. Nobody speaks loudly. Every sound matters. Every smell matters. Every movement could mean the difference between life and death. Suddenly, one of the children notices something moving beneath a fallen log. It's a tiny wild boar piglet. Small enough to fit inside both hands. Its striped body blends into the leaves. It squeals softly. The child smiles. Without thinking, he takes one step forward. Immediately, every adult freezes. One hunter grabs the child's shoulder. Another raises his spear. A third begins searching the trees instead of looking at the piglet. Why? Because experienced hunters weren't looking at the baby anymore. They were looking for its mother. Wild boars are among the most protective mothers in nature. Even today, wildlife experts warn hikers never to approach piglets. A mother boar weighing more than 100 kilograms can explode from thick vegetation without warning. She doesn't bluff. She doesn't hesitate. She charges. Ancient humans learned this lesson thousands of years before written history existed. Some probably learned it the hardest possible way. Long before humans understood biology, they understood patterns. Every dangerous event left behind a lesson. A hunter who survived an attack remembered what happened. He shared the story around the evening fire. Children listened carefully. The next generation survived because someone else's mistake became their knowledge. Over countless generations, these lessons slowly became survival rules. Never drink from still water without checking first. Never sleep where large bones are scattered. Never ignore sudden silence in the forest. And never, ever, pick up a baby animal. At first, this rule may sound overly cautious. After all, how dangerous could one tiny animal really be? The answer is, the baby itself was never the threat. It was the invisible circle surrounding it. Think about wolves. A wolf pup rarely wanders far from the den. If you see one alone, the pack already knows you're there. The adults may be watching from several directions at once. You won't hear them. You probably won't see them. But they'll see you. The same is true for bears. Large cats. Wild dogs. Even animals that normally avoid humans can become terrifyingly aggressive when they believe their offspring are in danger. Modern science calls this parental defense instinct. But for prehistoric humans, it was simply another rule that determined whether they lived to see another sunrise. And the deeper they traveled into the wilderness, the more important that rule became. If early humans had ignored this rule, Our species might never have survived long enough to build civilizations. Because the prehistoric world was full of traps. And baby animals were among the most deceptive. Experienced hunters understood something that every child was taught from an early age. Whenever you spotted a young animal, never look at the baby first. Look everywhere else. The trees, the rocks, the grass, the wind, the birds. Nature always revealed the truth to those who knew how to listen. Imagine finding a tiny cave bear cub sleeping beside a fallen tree. It looks peaceful. It doesn't notice you. For a moment, everything seems perfectly safe. But the oldest hunter in your group suddenly raises his hand. Everyone stops. Nobody moves. Why? Because he notices broken branches only a few meters away. Fresh claw marks on a nearby tree. Large footprints pressed deep into the soft earth. The mother is close. Very close. Perhaps she's searching for berries. Perhaps she's drinking from a nearby stream. Or perhaps she's already watching you. Unlike humans, most wild animals don't announce themselves. Their greatest weapon has always been surprise. A mother bear doesn't roar before attacking. A leopard doesn't growl to warn its prey. They strike when the opportunity is greatest. Ancient humans learned that survival belonged to those who noticed danger before danger noticed them. That lesson shaped every hunting trip, every gathering expedition, every journey through unfamiliar forests. The same rule applied to birds. Many prehistoric birds fiercely defended their nests. Some species attacked anyone who came too close. Others screamed so loudly that every animal in the forest became aware something unusual was happening. Those alarm calls created another problem. Predators listened too. A single frightened bird could accidentally reveal the location of both humans and their enemies. That's why experienced hunters paid close attention whenever birds suddenly became noisy around one particular tree. It often meant a nest. Or young animals. The safest decision was usually to leave. Ancient humans also noticed another strange pattern. Sometimes predators used curiosity against their prey. A lonely baby animal attracted attention. Not only from compassionate humans, but from every hungry hunter nearby. The cries of an injured fawn could travel hundreds of meters through the forest. Wolves heard it. Hyenas heard it. Large cats heard it. Birds of prey circled above. Within minutes, one small sound could bring several dangerous animals to exactly the same location. Now imagine a human standing beside that helpless baby. Instead of becoming the rescuer, they suddenly became part of the trap. Archaeologists believe prehistoric people survived because they constantly looked for hidden risks instead of obvious opportunities. Food, water, shelter. Everything came with danger attached. A beautiful cave might already belong to a bear. Fresh fruit could attract wild boars. A quiet riverbank might hide crocodiles beneath the water. Nothing was accepted at face value. Everything had to be questioned. That habit became one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. Our ancestors weren't the fastest animals. They weren't the strongest. They certainly weren't the biggest. But they became exceptional observers. They survived because they learned to think before acting. Children learned these lessons almost as soon as they could walk. Parents didn't simply tell stories. They demonstrated them. When they discovered tracks, children were shown the difference between adult footprints and young ones. When they found nests, they were taught to admire them from a distance. When they heard strange animal calls, they stopped and listened together. Knowledge wasn't written in books. It was written into memory. Passed from grandparents to parents to children, generation after generation. Eventually these survival lessons became instinct. Even today, many people feel strangely uncomfortable when they see baby animals alone in the wilderness. They pause. They hesitate. They instinctively look around. Scientists believe some of these reactions may come from deeply rooted survival behaviors inherited over thousands of generations. Modern wildlife experts continue giving almost identical advice. If you discover a baby deer lying quietly in the grass, leave it alone. Its mother is probably feeding nearby. If you find a baby rabbit, walk away. The mother usually returns after dark. If you discover a bird chick, observe before touching. Interfering too quickly may actually reduce its chances of survival. The remarkable thing is that advice given by modern biologists often matches survival rules ancient humans followed tens of thousands of years ago. Without laboratories, without textbooks, without scientific instruments, our ancestors slowly uncovered the same truths simply by paying attention. They watched nature. Nature became their teacher. Every success became knowledge. Every tragedy became a warning. Perhaps that's why ancient humans respected the wilderness far more than we do today. They understood something modern society often forgets. Nature isn't cruel. Nature simply follows its own rules. The forest never hated humans. It never loved them either. It treated every living creature exactly the same. Respect the rules, and you might survive. Ignore them, and nature rarely offered a second chance. The next time you see a baby animal sitting quietly in the wild, remember what your ancestors would have done. They wouldn't rush forward. They wouldn't assume it needed saving. They would stop, observe, listen, and ask one simple question. What can't I see? That single question may have saved countless human lives across prehistoric history. Sometimes, the greatest act of wisdom is knowing when not to interfere. And perhaps that's the forgotten survival rule that helped humanity endure one of the most dangerous worlds our species has ever known. If you enjoyed uncovering this forgotten piece of human history, don't forget to subscribe to Ancient Unlocked. Every week, we explore the mysteries, survival stories, and hidden truths of our ancient past. Leave a comment telling us which ancient survival rule surprised you the most. And we'll see you in the next journey into history. ..